Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Debbie and I read a lot of books, so many that I'm now actually doing 2 videos a week. But today's book is Apples Never Fall by Liane Moriarty. I've read a couple of Liane Moriarty books and I'll admit, Big Little Lies, obsessed with the TV series, so yeah. And obviously that's all finished now. But yeah, so let's go on with the Apples Never Fall blurb, shall we? The Delaney family love one another dearly. It's just that sometimes they want to murder each other. Joy Delaney and her husband Stan have done well. 4 wonderful grown-up children, a family business to envy, the golden years of retirement ahead of them. So when Joy Delaney vanishes, no note, no calls, her bike missing, it's natural that tongues will wag. How did Stan scratch his face? And who was the stranger who entered and suddenly left their lives? What are they all hiding? But for the Delaney children, there is a much more terrifying question. Did they ever know their parents at all? This is 496 pages in contemporary fiction, crime and thriller, family sagas, psychological romance and contemporary. And I read this on BorrowBox, which is now connected to my local library, and that's Leeds Libraries, and this version was released 13th of December 21, and its target audience is adult. I definitely say this is in the crime thriller mystery vein. And with the title, Apples Never Fall, it says, some families are no strangers to secrets. That's the tagline on the front. And I was very much leaning into the whole thing of apples never fall far from the tree and thinking, oh, well, does it all come back to the family? A lot of this book is done from the point of view of people hearing or overhearing the kids talking. It flashes backwards and forwards from the present to back then. There's a young girl called Savannah that turns up on the Delaney doorstep at Joy and Stan's house. As far as Joy and Stan are aware, they don't know who this girl is. She claims that she has just come from an abusive relationship. She just jumped in a taxi after he hit her, miraculously found 20 quid in her jeans, and just told the taxi driver to drive until the thing hit the 20 quid, and then she just gave him the 20 quid and jumped out. And the Delaney household, it just happens to be where she ended up. And straight away my brain was going, why did she feel the need to spend the entire 20 quid? She could have gone anywhere. And the idea of telling the taxi driver just to drive anywhere, and I was just thinking, there's so much more to this than we think. Straight away I was on the idea of, like, this young girl Savannah, she definitely knows the Delaneys in some way, and when Savannah walks through the door, Joy thinks that she recognises the girl but can't quite figure it out. But then when Savannah shares her version of the story of saying, like, oh, I just told the taxi driver to drive, I found this 20 quid and just passed it off, Joy was just like, oh, maybe I don't recognise her, maybe she is just a random stranger. But there's just little hints all the way through the book that Savannah isn't what she seems, and the kids pick up on it as well. They're very aware that there's things that she doesn't seem to be completely truthful about. There's things where they think she might be lying about stuff. Yeah, there's 2 boys and 2 girls in the Delaney family, and one of the boys realises that Savannah seems to have taken her story as to how she ended up at the house from a documentary, when he realises that what Savannah said to him was almost word for word from a documentary that he finds himself watching. And he's just like, wait, what? Is it a coincidence that these 2 stories are just very similar? But then how come what the person said on the television sound almost exactly what Savannah said to me? And yeah, you know that from the flashbacks and from the present that whatever happened to Joy when she went missing has something to do with Savannah and what happened while Savannah was staying with Joy and Stan, because after she turns up at the house and says, I've got nowhere else to go and this is my story, and Joy, being the caring person that she is, just invites Savannah to stay for as long as she needs to. And all the kids become jealous. I mean, they're full-grown adults, they don't even live at home anymore, and they're all just going, wait, why is our mother and father playing host to a complete stranger? It's that thing of just like the relationship that we have with our mum and dad is very different to the relationship that Savannah is creating with our mum and dad. This is all set in Australia, by the way. It's this one is this in Sydney? But yeah, it's quite a dysfunctional family dynamic, because with the Moriartys, they're a tennis family. Joy and Stan met as competitive tennis players, and they found out that they work really well together on couples teams, so on doubles teams even. So they work really well as a couple, and then they created their own school, the Delaney Tennis School, where all the kids started training in tennis. None of the kids end up in tennis, they all end up elsewhere, but the real love of tennis kind of runs through the entire family. Some people say if you don't like tennis, you won't like the book. To be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of tennis. Like, I can sit down and watch it, but I wouldn't say I'm a big fan of tennis, and I did not feel put off by the tennis talk at all. It was just part of the plot. But yes, so the 4 children, the adult children, you've got Amy, Logan, Troy, and Brooke. So you've got Brooke is into physical therapy. She has her own business. Amy, she's communications handyman. She's kind of does a bit of anything and everything, really. And then you've got Logan. He's a divorced, wealthy trader person who you later find out puts a lot of what he learned in tennis into his work as a trader. Got the idea of trying to predict where the stock market is going to go and that kind of thing. And then Troy is a bit of a gambler. He's kind of neither here nor there. But I think just so much happens in this book, because when Joy goes missing at the beginning of the book, you find out that all that's left of her is her bike and some apples that she bought at the market, and you have no idea what happened to her. And then through that you go back to when Savannah turned up on their doorstep. Obviously you're aware that obviously something happened, but you don't know what. And so you've got a lot of backstory leading up to it. At the end, once you've kind of found out everything, and I was just there thinking, wait, why does there seem to be a lot of pages left when it seems like everything's been wrapped up? And I was just like, what questions are left to be answered? And then I realised that the ending was answering a question that no one asked, but you needed to be aware of in regards to Savannah and her headspace and the things that she had done in the lead up to turning up on Joy and Stan's doorstep. So I enjoyed this book. As somebody who likes a mystery, this was right up my alley. And the fact that you do get a lot of back... I mean, I think some people might be put off by how much backstory there is. There are times when you almost forget about the modern day issue when you're looking back at the family and their relationship with Savannah. A lot of it comes back to a student that Stan had back in the day when the kids were all learning to play tennis. And it's a guy called Harry Haddad, and he has gone on to be a successful tennis player, but Harry dropped the Delaneys from his training and then went off and became successful with somebody else. And Stan harbours a lot of anger over that and against the Haddad family at the idea that he was dropped at a point when Stan could have taken him all the way, and so Stan gets a bit jealous of the fact that this guy has gone on to be quite a successful tennis player and doesn't seem to have any thanks towards the Delaney family for giving him his head start, really. Throughout the book you find out that Harry Delaney is making a comeback as an adult, and he is writing a book, kind of a biography of sorts. And the Delaney family get into very... Basically, I don't think any of them like Harry. All of them seem to have a grudge against the Haddad family, and Harry Haddad specifically, for dropping the Delaney tennis school just as he was starting to become successful. And you're aware that Joy harbours a secret over that, and how it all happened and why the Haddads dropped the Delaney family as training. Yeah, there's so much to get your teeth into in this book. But at the end of the day, it does all come back to Joy. Joy is kind of the central person that it all comes back to. Joy and Savannah, who turns up on the doorstep, and people are trying to figure out, like, was she just a random person that just turned up on the doorstep, or does she have a connection somewhere? And yeah, just trying to piece all that together is quite fun. Seeing all the different details about the siblings and their relationships with each other and their parents, and how they, as adults, look back on their childhood and trying to understand their childhood, understanding their own family dynamic and understanding their parents and how they reacted to things, because you become very aware that as adults they have completely different thoughts on what happened in their childhoods and the relationship that their parents had. And you find out that even though Joy and Stan seem to be a very loved up couple, they have been together for about 30 years or something. Yeah, you find out that Joy and Stan's relationship hasn't always been perfect, and with going down the apples never fall far from the tree, you find out that Stan's father was abusive to his mother, and that he tries to control his anger in a different way, so he doesn't want to take it out on his wife, so what happens is he just shuts up and leaves, and it's just like, it's that really a healthy way to deal with it, but at the same time, at least he's not getting physical. Yes, so there is a bit of an abusive relationship storyline running through it in regards to Stan's parents. There are references to that relationship, and also through Savannah's storyline you've got references to an abusive relationship as well. So that's just to make you aware of that part of the storyline. But yeah, it was definitely very much a case of looking at the family and how apples never fall far from the tree, and the way that apples kind of make their way present through the story in very different ways, not just in reference to the family, but also in reference to Joy and her cooking. And actually is a point in the book where she almost claims, well, she pretty much claims that she hates cooking when she doesn't, but it's in reference to the fact that Savannah starts cooking for them. She was like, wait, I don't need to lift a finger anymore. And yeah, it's a very complicated web of relationships and family, and yeah, so I definitely put it family drama mystery, because it all comes back to the present when Joy's gone missing, and how it all came out I was not expecting at all. When you find out what happened to Joy, it was just like, this is bonkers. This is really bonkers how this all comes out. I enjoyed it. There did come a point though towards the end where it was just like, wait, why is this book still going? We've been given all the answers. And then it was, oh wait, it's going into a question that we never thought to ask, which has to do with why Savannah did everything that she did. I'll say that. I need to read more Liane Moriarty books, because the things that I have read, I have really enjoyed. So even though it feels like a long one, and that's because so much happens in it, the front cover on Goodreads is not the front cover that I have on BorrowBox. Yeah, so that is the front cover that I have, but there's lots of different versions of that front cover. The one inside the book is a bit darker, and then, is that the one that's on Goodreads? I have no idea. I've lost it. Anyway, yeah. Apples Never Fall by Liane Moriarty. You've got a good mystery in there, but it's also got elements of comedy. And then you just got that family saga in the middle of it as well. And the way the family comes together against Savannah and the Haddad family in regards to that historical grudge that they've all got. I enjoyed it. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. I'm sure you've seen everything get progressively darker. I've got some leftovers that I can eat downstairs, so I'm going to go eat them. Yeah, Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time with another video. Thanks. Bye.